In stats today, we introduced histograms. Histograms are a little stressful to make because there are no set rules. I can tell you that this thing is not a bar graph. It's not categorical. It's for quantitative data. Classes, and by classes we mean bars. If that helps. That's like we're going to sort data into different zones of responses, different ranges of responses. So a class size, that's the width that a possible observation could fall into. You'll see in a second when we look at data. The question, the hard thing is, if you're constructing this thing, you have to make these decisions. I give you some suggestions here, but nothing is set in stone. You still get to decide, and it's all dependent on shape. Spread will be the same regardless, but shape is what we're hoping to see, and if you do too few of classes, you're not going to see the shape of the data set. If you do too many classes, it just becomes very tedious, and it's like overkill. So what I will tell you, in AP, they will never, or I don't think they will, ever ask you to construct one. You just need to know how to read it. So what we'll do on Friday is practice reading this one and what's going on. But just for the sake of figuring out how these things are made, we're going to make one histogram based on third period data. 8th period, here's your data. So if you want to make one of those, we'll do that in 8th period. But I'm going to go with 3rd period because I already have everything counted up. So we have 20 numbers up there. So I'm going to write that down. 20 observations. I see a min of 3 and a max of 35. That's also going to help me make a decision on class size. Now, if you're still at a loss on what this class thing is, let's show you a small picture here. So we're going to draw quadrant 1 of our graph. And at the bottom, this is our time to get to school. And we did that in minutes. And then we're going to have bars coming up out of the bottom. So we'll have bars like this. So each of those bars is a class. I have no idea how high they're going to be yet. So I'm going to erase that. On the left, on the y-axis, you can do relative frequency or you can do frequency. And for the sake of time, I'm just going to do frequency this time. We're not comparing groups, so we're just going to do frequency. If I am comparing, for example, 3rd to 8th period, I would need to do relative frequency. All right, so maybe over here, let's make a table. And notice, I don't know what to do here. I mean, if you have a really small range, let's say this thing stopped at 10 minutes, I would say you could make a bar for every minute. And so every class would be 1 minute wide. That would be okay. That wouldn't be too overkill. But to make a class a bar for every minute, 3 to 35 minutes, that's just overkill. And you're not going to have much repetition, so it's going to be a very boring and tedious graph. So what I would do, like I suggested on page 1, is square root the number of observations, and this gives you a starting point. So we have 4 point something when I square root 20. So I know I want roughly 4, maybe 5, maybe even 6 classes. All right? I think 3 classes would be way too small. That means 3 bars. That's not going to show much. And really 4 bars is not going to show much either. So I'm going to lean towards 5. I got a range of 33 minutes. And I'm looking at 5 classes. I could assume 0 to 35. You are allowed to pick nice round numbers. So we could divide 35 by 5 and just say classes are 7 minutes wide. You could say that's roughly a range of 32 and divide by 4. And so you have 8 classes. You could divide by 6 and do 6-minute classes. So many choices. In third period, we did 7-minute classes. So I'm going to, let's change it up. Let's go with 6 classes, 6 minutes wide. And we're going to start at 0. And I bet we're going to get a graph that looks just like we made in third period. We'll see. So what you do is you want to sort these into these classes. So what you do is you include the upper value of the class and not include the lower. So for example, 0, unless someone lives on campus, it doesn't take 0 minutes, but maybe it takes 30 seconds. I don't know. But that way, no one observation falls in 2 classes. So if it's a 6, it's going to fall up here. Here are our classes. Some people may ask, why did I start at 0? Why did I end at 36? I would say 3 is close enough to 0 where it's fine to start at 0. And 36, yeah, 36 didn't occur, but that doesn't really matter. All right? So on your graph, you want to make a mark for 0 and go by 6s. You could make it right in the corner if you want. I think in third period I made it right in the corner, but I don't know, I tend to like to leave a little gap. I'm going to need them narrower, or I'm going to invade on that table. There we go. Oh, don't forget to name this. This is third period stats. Should we call it travel time to school? I don't know. I think that's enough. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make tally marks and place each observation into this table here. So for example, I'm going to make a tally mark for the number 3 right here. I'm going to make it, sorry, I skipped one. I'm going to make a tally mark for 7 right here and cross it out as I go. And you sort it. Pretty easy. So tally mark for 3. I'm going to hit pause, and this is going to suddenly populate, so maybe try and do it on your own. All right. I sorted them. Hopefully I did it right. Let's make this a little longer. I had 2, 6, 7, 4, 0, and 1. And does it add to 20? We have 5, 12. It does. So we're going to go with that. So you come over to the left, and it looks like I have a high of 7. That's only 7 dashes if I go by ones, so that's how I'm going to go. It has to start at 0. Like a bar chart, it is similar. You can number any way you want, by 2s, by 5s, but this one only goes to 7, so I'm just going to make 7 dashes. make it too high, and the bars do touch. 6 high. 7 high. Oops, I missed the 18 there. Now it's wavy. That looks worse. We have a 4. We have a 0 and a 1. All right, we did it. This graph does look a little bit different. We do have a 0 like we did in third period when we went by 7s, but I think this one looks a touch more symmetric than it did in third period. So we'll practice talking about this on Friday. See y'all later.